What are you doing on that thing?
Seeing what you just texted me. Reminded me used new.
Oh,
You had something else to remind you of too. You just keep saying remind me of. I gotta look up. I gotta search remind me for Zachary.
did I say
Remind me food and remind me used new.
I'll tell you, sometimes that stuff comes in my head, and literally, like, if I don't grab my phone right away and start typing it to you or someone, I'll be like,
I put a key down today. Speaking of forgetting things,
you did what?
I had a key in my hand today at work, a car key. I put it somewhere. I'm not exaggerating to you. 5 seconds later, I forgot where I had put the key. And I had to look through the entire thing. You know where it was? It was in the cup holder of the car. I looked everywhere. It was in the cup holder. Okay, so food or new? Begin one of them. Is it hot in here?
No.
Okay.
All right, food. So, obviously, there's going to be no resolution to this conversation.
Don't be so sure.
But it's just kind of an interesting thing to think about in all of its aspects. Food. Did we waste more then or more now?
What do you mean, waste more?
Food.
When? Compared to when? The engines?
Just historically. No, let's say let's put this in the realm of our adulthood. So let's say 1970 versus 2000.
Waste more food.
Did America waste more food in 1970, or do they waste more food in the year 2000? Let's go current. Let's just to make it really close to your brain. 1970, current 2020.
Waste more food. Personally or as an entire civilization?
As a nation.
Waste more food.
As a country.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why would we waste more or less food relative to ourselves. Awesome. Did you look it up or something?
No, I texted you that, and that's why I text you in code, because I don't want you to know anything either.
I would say we probably waste more food now because more people get it for free.
That's a neat assumption.
I think it's probably and we have way more of a what's that word, like destination economy, where people go on vacations and go to special places and stuff, and those places are wasting food like crazy also. Vegas is 14,000 times bigger than it was. They probably waste way more food now just because it's inherent with the amount of people that go there, and they just throw everything away. I would say I think we're continually wasting.
Maybe then to continue on in this on this track, so we don't look at things from different sides. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like pizza crust in the garbage bag.
No, I'm talking about actual food wasted. I'm talking about when a buffet makes 50 tons of food in Vegas, which is 1 million times bigger now, they throw away a crap load at the end of the night.
All right, we're on the same page.
Yeah, I think everyone wastes food more. But that's why we started pickling. Because you can save it forever.
Yeah, but I'm not sure you're right.
The fence pickles. Why did we waste food in the 70s?
Dude.
I never wasted food in the 70s.
Can you imagine what technology has done for food waste? Like,
as far as it lasting longer? Like, I just took out zucchinis that I've had for a month and a half.
Well, I mean, perfect. That's a big one, but I'm talking, the main focus I'm talking is, like, inventory. Like, think about a restaurant. Like, okay, yeah, Vegas, they burn through so much food and this and that. Imagine when they had to stock back in 1970 based on, like, they don't have even, like, a computer program that shows them peak seasons and when things went. And
Yeah, but they had fridges. They'd be able to keep their food just as long as they should be able to, unless there's GMO stuff going on.
but I'm saying though, like the whole process, like the butcher knows how many cows.
Oh yeah, like so, like you're saying they're like,
Just
oh,
like the whole
we better
picture,
make
like,
sure we have enough, so we're gonna have
yeah,
some
I mean,
waste.
imagine what it must have been like
Yeah.
to try to like stock a kitchen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is a lot of that done in like the good restaurants. Or are you talking about like McDonald's,
I'm saying
like the big time volume?
I think
places?
just as a whole, rotten slash unedible food had to have been at such a high amount.
I don't know if in the 70s. I would say maybe like in the 40s.
Yeah, but I'm just picking a time when there wasn't like really any computer
Electronics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much it affects.
I mean, I equate that to like me having to drive 3 hours south somewhere with no GPS.
Oh,
You know, like it's just one of those things like you would rely, those people all have to rely on that stuff so much, and they like, you know, hone it in. And to think like at one point, like,
yeah, I think they probably I don't know. I think they probably did a pretty good job of it back in the day. You don't need that much.
I mean, but
Are you talking about like at restaurants and stuff? I feel like you could figure that out pretty quickly. Like this is this is my busy time. Last week I ordered 200 pounds and I only used 100. Maybe I'll order 150 this week. Oh, let's hone it in. 125 this week. Hey, we had more customers last week. Let's go up 10%.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a neat thing.
And I also think about this too. When I was a kid, we had so much frozen crap. Food was all frozen, like, or it was in metal cans. Like everything was like that. It was very rare that we got like, well, it wasn't very rare, but it wasn't as common as like. I guarantee my dad very rarely went out to go buy himself a steak for dinner. Like I just do it all the time. That was not so like everyone like when my dad was home, I had fish sticks or spaghetti. Nothing that was like was gonna go bad. All of our freezer was stuffed.
But are you sure that they didn't have the option? I'm not sure. I don't
The
remember
option?
like when I'm little or whatever. But
No, they had the option. But when my mother wasn't home, my dad, or when I was really young, would just make frozen stuff. My mother
right.
would make
Oh,
frozen
right. I'm
stuff.
just saying, did they not? They probably had the option to get better stuff. More.
Oh, that was just my dad
vegetables
didn't
or-
want to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother would cook real stuff. But even the real stuff back then was not like we didn't have the non-perishable stuff choices that we have now. So like you'd use like more canned stuff,
Yeah.
canned this, frozen this. I have nothing in my freezer right now. I have like a pint of ice cream in my freezer.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't have anything frozen. So I think there was more of that too. But I don't know if that
Which
leads to more or
even,
less
like,
waste.
enhances the theory that we have no chance of survival.
Oh, I know. Not anymore.
Like,
Unless we go find some squirrels to eat and cook. I think, I don't know if we'd waste more food back then. I think we're probably, it's a tough one. We're becoming more efficient, so maybe that's why we would end up wasting less because it's inherent. Well, the thing is, like, for the consumer industry, for like restaurants, hotels, and those kinds of places, they don't want to waste food. But the food industry, the private food industry, to us, they want you to waste food. They want you to buy so much that you'll never eat it and waste it. So I don't know. Like as far as being more efficient for them, for the hotels and stuff, they probably waste less food because they figured it out more. But I don't know about the other one. And now that we have less way more perishable stuff, maybe we as normal people are wasting more food. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, maybe you could even dwell in on like if you just put it ratio to population.
Oh, well, I was thinking relative to the population size. So I guess overall we probably would waste more just because we have 30 more million people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that. We probably do waste more. Yep. Yep. The title of this one's gonna be, we're gonna call it Food Waste. Would ya? And then we're gonna get 7 views, and we're like, why would we get 7 views with a title like that? Would ya? Food Waste. Would you? No, we'll call it Would You Even, and see. Oh, we're not gonna get any. It's so weird how our title didn't draw any viewers. We are our second video is at 10% of our first video, with 10 views.
With 10 seconds of listening.
We haven't checked Buzzsprout though.
Average 10-second listen.
We might be able to get. Maybe we got some more on the old, actual podcast thing. We were over 10 on the first one. That's pretty good. 10%. That's more than Joe Rogan, bitch. Way more than Joe Rogan percentage wise. So once we get to 100 million, we're still gonna have 1 million people listening on that. Shh, please. We'll be millionaires. I watched this really good video today of this. It's called. Well, I don't know if it's a good video or not. It's called Navy SEAL debates liberal on defund the police. And this Navy SEAL is not like. He's pro cop, obviously. Well, not obviously. I'm sure there's some that aren't, but he's pro cop. But he's also not a seasoned debater. He's just a normal dude that can kill you. And he's basically debating this liberal guy who's like the first word that comes out of this dude's mouth. This liberal guy, I just wanted to just like smack him in his face. I could just tell. He got a little bit of a southern accent. He's like, "Well, I think maybe we could talk about that."
The SEAL guy said that?
No, the other guy.
Yeah.
He's like, "Maybe we could talk about that." Well, it is the law, and blah blah. At one point, this idiot says, they're talking about that shooting in Atlanta where the criminal steals the cop's gun, steals the cop's taser and turns back to shoot him with the taser, and the cop blows him away. And it's like so clear to me that guy didn't do anything wrong. The cop didn't do anything wrong. And this guy's saying, "Yeah, you can't shoot people in the back. There's case law. There's case law that says you can't shoot anybody in the back." And then the SEAL's like, "Wait a minute. You're telling me so if I'm sitting away from you and I look over my shoulder and point a gun behind my back and point it at you, you can't shoot me?" He's like, "You can't do it. It's the law." So already, this guy's so full of shit. And this SEAL's like, "Wait a minute." And he just keeps going back and forth. He's like, "No, there's no way." And bullshit. And then he says, would you shoot someone if someone was pointing a taser at you? And the liberal's like, eventually he admits, yeah, I would shoot him because he could kill me. Obviously, he's got bad intentions for me. I would kill him. But he says the cop shouldn't have done it because the law says that he can't do it and they're supposed to enforce and follow the law. And he said, and then the SEAL goes, okay, so you're saying that cop should die? He's like, yeah, that's his job. That's what the liberal guy says. And I was like, whoa. Oh. I was like, actually, like, I could feel my body tingling because I was so mad that someone would so flippantly say, "Oh yeah, he's just supposed to die because it's his job." Because this kid says this guy has never had any situation like that ever in his whole life. So, and for him to have the balls to say it, I was pissed listening to that.
Why did you subject yourself to it?
Because I liked listening to the other guy be like, "You're stupid," and I want to know what these idiots are actually thinking. I have to listen to it, or else I'm going to be unprepared when the war comes. There's not going to be one, though, hopefully. But yeah, I was listening to that today. I was listening to it while I made my delicious Greek sandwich for dinner. So. What was the other thing? Or do you want me to talk about my tool thing?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this tool thing that I was thinking about. So I was at work, and we use, not the best tools in the world relative to, I guess, what the good tools are. What's the best ones? Makita? Makita's, the best one? Makita, Dual.
Whatever.
Oh, Milwaukee's cheaper and nice, too. So anyway, and I was thinking to myself, because I'm going to be building a house sometime this decade, and I was thinking about what tools I'm going to get, because when I moved, I lost half my stuff. I lost 2 guitars, an amplifier, blah 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 blah. So I lost a bunch of stuff, but I'm like, what? I've been using these tools at work, this little hammer drill thing. You know what I'm talking about? The short. It looks like a normal drill, except it's shorter at the top and it like clicks.
Yeah.
One of those from a really cheap company relative to other things, and the normal drill and the hand sander and all the palm sander and all this other stuff. And I was thinking, these things work so freaking good. Why would I ever buy a DeWalt that costs 4 times as much? And then I was thinking, these things that I'm using right now, 10 years ago, cost $1,000 for this exact same technology. Everything in it was the same 10 years ago, and it probably cost 5 times as much as it costs now. So 5 or 10 years ago, it was like the best of the best, and only the coolest would use it. But now it's not good enough. So I was like, why would I ever buy a super expensive tool? It makes no sense to me, except for maybe if you're like an actual construction worker, and you use it every single day, and maybe they last one day longer than the other. I guess maybe that makes sense. But I was thinking that they have got us by the butt crack.
Dude, it's so weird.
What?
Well, 2 things. One, I can't tell if you're talking to me or the crowd.
The crowd down the hall.
But listen,
I have to have this in front of me.
I know, but it's weird because I'm like sitting here, and then like every once in a while you look at me, and then you're looking that way, and I'm like,
That's autism.
so listen,
That's
listen,
spectrum syndrome.
listen, you asshole, you stole my thunder. Not entirely, but it's great because it runs exactly pretty well parallel to what I wanted to talk about, and that's old and new.
Oh, you copied me.
No,
You're copying me. He's about to copy me. Old
no,
and
I'm
new.
not. You're talking about buying the best versus the worst. And vice
10 years
versa.
ago.
Just vice versa.
Correct.
What I'm saying is like it's on the same spectrum. Is someone who would buy that like only would buy new fill in the blank. We'll talk about a car.
New Land Rover.
Someone would buy a new car, and then someone else that would not buy a new car and would only want an old used car.
I know what you're saying. I think it's the same along the same idea. Yes, it's like, why would I spend $20,000 more on a brand new car when a 5-year-old car was almost the exact same thing and it's $20,000 less?
Yeah, it's like what you're talking about is like a finer tune to that decision making. Like what I'm talking about is like this big thing where like you carry on that thought in a lot of your decision making. Where like someone, like I know a guy that only buys new stuff. And it's like
He only buys new stuff.
New stuff. Like if he wanted to get a motorcycle, he'd be like, and that's a good example.
He'd
Like,
go to Harley.
he'd be like, hey man, let's get bikes, or yeah, I'm thinking of getting a bike or whatever. And then like, me personally, like I would be looking for something in early 2000s range, let's say in this scenario. So I'm on Craigslist and Marketplace, look around, whatever. And then I'm like, hey man, I think I found, a 2001 blah blah blah.
Yamaha.
And I'd be like, what are you gonna get? Oh, I got a
2027.
yeah, I got a
Hayabusa.
Ducati.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh cool man, what year did you get? And they're like, oh, 2020.
Future.
And you're like, what the hell? Like, and it's not like, I guess what I'm talking about is like to hone in more is I'm not talking necessarily about someone who buys for like the status. Like let's keep that parallel with your thing and my thing. Like,
It's not
let's
because
not
they want
talk-
to look cool.
Yeah,
They
let's
think
not-
that that's what they have to
right.
do.
Like, let's keep that out of it. Like the person that's buying that 2020 Ducati, like I know him well enough that it's not because he wants to be like, I got money, man. I got this, I got that. Just like along the same lines as like the guy's not buying Milwaukee so that he can be like, yeah, man, look at the Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like what? Where does that change in your brain? Like where is it? Like here's where my idea stemmed from, and then you go back to like your thing. But like I have a used vehicle.
Mhm.
and I was having alternator problems with it. And like, my vehicle's like a fun vehicle to me,
Yep.
And so I'm having alternator problems. I'm like, well, I'll pull this one off to check it out. And like in doing so, I realized that some less than professional mechanic of whatever sort had already like been in that alternator.
Inside?
Like I could tell like it was manhandled, And so I realized someone put a used alternator in this. Like someone went to a junkyard and pulled an alternator out of a car that this works in, the same one, and put it in there. And like in the meantime, like probably dropped it a couple times. Like the plastic was broken in like a place that like it would never break. Like if you just like had it on the vehicle, the plastic would never break.
You probably got it from a freaking pile.
And then there's like I could tell there was like a little where the stud sticks out that different electric connections occur. Like there was one where like a part was missing, like a capacitor was missing between the two links.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking like, damn, this dude is so about the business that he's like, I need an alternator. I don't care where this alternator comes from. Or not even, I don't care where it comes from. It's just like, I need an alternator. Boom, I go to the used car lot and try to find one off of a junkyard vehicle. Versus like me spending more than an hour or two like researching and looking up and checking AutoZone and O'Reilly's in Advance and Napa and Rock Auto and eBay and Amazon everywhere to try to find like the best deal on a new alternator, like all new parts.
Yeah.
Like how, you know what I mean? Like how do you develop that?
Who's to say that he didn't spend even more time though? He probably spent more time than you trying to find the goddamn place that has your alternator.
I get that, but I'm saying like how do you grow that different? How does one person like literally broken up, cracked, fell on the ground, pulled it out of a pile, like just put this on and keep going, versus someone who like and my emphasis on all the places I looked up is because you can't really find new alternators for an older vehicle. Like they're remanufactured. And so like it's just weird that you have that line where it's like, well, if it broke, like here's a literal crazy way to see it. That's so stupid for someone to do anything other than pulling off of a used one. It's like, I gotta get a brand new one. I gotta put a new alternator on this vehicle that has X thousand miles.
100. X 100.
Yes. Yeah, I gotta get a new one because I need it. If everything else fails, at least I know the alternator will still be new.
Yeah, I would say it's more reasonable to do it on that kind of car.
But that's the thing. It's like, so, okay, then I'll play the other side. You quick to say, how about, well, if my alternator just went out on 200x thousand miles, why wouldn't the one I'm pulling out of this other one that has 200x thousand miles?
I don't even know how an alternator goes bad.
Just like any electric motor, that's just the connection. Generally, it's between like the connection for the stator.
Oh, yeah, the old stator.
But I mean, you know what it is? Here's another funny thing. Try to find the stuff to rebuild your alternator. It's impossible.
I didn't know you could rebuild an alternator.
Yeah, because you want to know what? It's like, what's something that you like have a core charge on other than like a battery or something like?
Anything for a car.
But like I'm thinking
like an intake manifold.
Like I'm thinking though, like if you got something right and it's
transmission.
It's like this big piece. Like how many times do they just get the core and they're like, oh yeah, they just got to change this piece of plastic?
Oh, of course, all the time. That's a genius thing to do.
Right. So that's like with the alternator, like probably the main thing that goes on them is a voltage regulator. It's like the brains.
But you can't find it to replace it.
No. It's
So
like
they
the
call it
brains of
Shay-
the alternator. Right. So like you give them back as a core charge and they're like 1-star hex bolt regulator, 1-star hex bolt.
Great. And they call my friends from China that I've talked to on Skype and get the friggin' part for it for 12 cents per.
Yeah. Made from.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm the newer. I think I buy the new stuff.
Me too.
I buy the new stuff, not for motorcycles, but typically I buy new cars.
Oh.
I buy new stuff. Like if I need something for my Jeep, I would not buy something used. If I wanted something for
But it's beyond that. Though,
a
kinda,
motorcycle, I'd buy something used.
But like it's beyond the funny thing is you have to think the whole picture. So like with your Jeep, it's so new that you really
What would I buy?
There is no used. You know, like.
Well, I'm talking about even like if I said, "Hey, man, I say that," but if I actually sometimes I'll look and I would probably do it, but I don't take the time to look like you do. So.
Oh, you're saying
like if I found like amplifier, like if I was like, dang, I really wanted some little amplifier, make my stuff sound better, and get a little deck for the car or whatever the heck they call them nowadays, head units.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to do that, and you like found something, because I certainly wouldn't look, I would probably be okay with going to look for it. I am always just scared that if I buy something, it's going to be not what they're going to scam me. So that's what I'm concerned about. But if it wasn't, and I knew it wasn't, and like my friend had something that I was like, oh yeah, I'll put that in my car, I would buy it used, but typically no. But for a motorcycle, I would. I'd buy it used.
So to stick on that though, so what makes you so trustworthy of like the shop that's gonna put it in or something, or even like that you're gonna pick the right one from the store?
The right one meaning it's gonna perform the way I want it to.
Well, you're saying like
I accept bad performance. I don't accept like if he gives me something broken, I'm gonna be pissed. They have to stand up to they have more to stand by than a person I met.
Oh, so you're saying they're selling you damaged goods, as opposed to like it's you didn't really know,
right? Like if I buy something and it doesn't work exactly how I want, that's one thing. But I'm too concerned about someone giving me like a thing that looks like an amplifier and just made a cardboard and sent it to me. That kind of stuff. But like an exhaust, like I bought every motorcycle I ever bought was used. I've bought used parts for motorcycles. But like for my Jeep, I wouldn't buy again unless I said, hey, I really want and you know what the other thing is? It's always a freaking hassle. Like I was just gonna say, like I really want to get a stubby bumper for the back of my Jeep. And then have all the metals just taken off and fixed and have the inside floor done and all that other stuff. And I was like thinking like maybe if you found me a stubby bumper on someone's JK that they didn't want, that's off the thing, I would probably go buy it. And then I'm thinking to myself, would I? Because I know I'd get it and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm missing 2 bolts. These ones are too rusty. I just don't even know that I care to deal with it. I'll just pay the extra $300 and get a freaking stubby bumper and not have to think.
Yeah. That's
like you like doing it.
Yeah,
but then you hate. No, you don't. You like doing it, but then you hate it because every time you say it, you're like, "Yeah, I saved $13."
That's why I'm trying to get down to like the root of it. Though, what is it?
It's just your. I was gonna say something that would definitely get us taken down.
No, but I'm saying, what is it that makes not just you and I, but like people?
It's just inherent characteristics. Like it's not even about ability to do it. Like for example, Pat, he's like the scrounger of all scroungers, but his parents, he didn't grow up poor, for God's sakes. You know what I'm saying? He's got all those old cars and like random stuff he buys that's garbage and goes and hunts for weird garbage stuff and actually likes it and whatever. That's cool that he likes that stuff, but it's like it's not like as if he grew up having to scrounge for things, but he likes doing it. He likes buying used stuff and finding stuff like that. You like doing it. Your brother likes doing it. Your father likes doing it. My dad, no, he's not even gonna waste 1 minute of his life. If he's like, gosh, I really need some, whatever. Oh, like this happened when my parents drove down there. They had an SUV, their SUV at the time. They drove it from New York to Florida, and they towed a trailer that was like 7,000 pounds above what this little SUV's limit was supposed to be. So they get down here, and the transmission's jacked. It's like all shaky and stuff. They bring it to the dealership, or they bring it to the repair shop, and they're like, what's wrong with it? Like, oh, it's this. You need to replace this, 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 and this. I looked it up before they even brought it there, like the symptoms it had, and it was like what I found, and it was like they weren't lying or anything. And it was like, you could probably, he's like, yeah, you can do this and this, and you can buy this. You can get a remand this and a remand that. And I remember hearing it, and my dad's like, what does that mean? Remand. And they're like, it means that it's like an old part housing, but everything inside's brand new, essentially. He's like, so it's used stuff? And he's like, yeah, but it's like the same as new. And he's like, no. Just go new. Like, I don't even want to think about it. It's new. I don't even want to think about what could possibly go wrong. So he's just like, just put the good stuff on there, and then they returned the car and traded it in anyway. But that's how he is. He doesn't even want... I don't know if he ever bought something used. Maybe cars when I was younger, and I just don't remember or whatever, but I literally don't know that he has bought anything used from anybody else ever. I'm like in between. Like, I'm definitely more towards the new stuff for the most part. Like, I'm trying to think. I've never owned a gun that was used. I've only bought new guns, except like the ones that my like grandfather gave me or whatever. But I've never bought any. I've only bought new guns because I don't even want to think about it. I would probably actually. I'm in the market right now. I was thinking about our little squirrel adventure that I want to have. I was thinking about getting a little lever action 22. I think that'd be so fun. Just a little wood frame lever action 22. I'm not buying anything above 22 because we can't. Everything's $17 a bullet. But I have 22s, decent 22s. But I think that does go along a little bit. Yours, I think, is different in that what I'm talking about is the industries have us by the butt crack right now. They have us convinced that the drill gun I'm using is somehow not as good. It's so much worse than the other one that it should be 1/4 of the price. You know what I mean? Like, this drill that I'm getting is $60, but the one that's Makita or whatever ancient brand those expensive ones are $350. And there's no way in Mother Earth that that's actually true. But people buy the expensive ones.
There's got to be some. I mean, I
there's
agree
feature
there's a gap,
different,
but like maybe
like strength,
warranty
maybe
or something. Or...
I'm talking about $60 worth, like literally $250. That is outrageous. That better freaking do something way better for someone that actually benefits from that money. That they need that because they make money off the thing or something like that. Maybe that's the case. I tend to think that that's not the case.
Well, how about that?
I have both at my office. They're both working. I have a DeWalt hammer drill and I have a Porter cable hammer drill. They work exactly the same. I feel no difference.
But why doesn't the lesser bring their price up to fill that gap and make it easier on the consumer?
I think they probably just have.
Hear me though?
Yeah, I think they have gone for the market share of we're going to sell a shite load more drill.
That's fine, but I'm saying
because they have to
what
gain.
You're saying is such a point. If you close that gap in, it's not going to make the consumer go, "That's fucking junk. It's $60."
Well, yeah, but they also are. They're under the Some will say that, but not the majority of people won't.
That's why,
and they'll buy it.
And the what?
I'm saying most people don't care about that. They'll buy the cheap one because they're like, this thing works fine.
Yeah, that's what they're taking a chance.
Are they though?
They are.
What's the chance?
It's just like
what kind of tools do you have? You have Craftsman.
Yeah.
That's not like a super high end brand. Yours work perfectly. That's not a DeWalt, right?
I mean, I don't know. They're like the Ion series. They're like they were good.
Exactly, and they work perfectly. That's what I'm saying. They work exactly what you need them for. I don't know that there's that much of a difference. I think like Porter cable and what's that other cheap stuff? There's other ones. Like Harbor Freight's another story. Harbor Freight legitimately has crappy tools. Like the cheap ones at Harbor Freight, they break because I've used them and they just don't work. But like for like Porter Cable, they have their market share is people that want tools that are not expensive. So they stay there and they sell cheap tools and they sell a crap load of them. They don't make as much money off each one. DeWalt is like, hey, we're not going to sell as many, but what if we just increase our prices by 100%? And people will be like, wow, there's got to be a reason it's expensive. And then with that thing, they actually do make like they put like the extra.
I mean, I don't
17th of an inch of steel
I
on the
don't
thing.
know Porter Cable enough. I had a DeWalt for a long time. Like, I don't know that it's like something you can feel or not, but I'm sure it's a more refined product.
But what do you mean by that?
I just mean, even if it's, what's the fancy word, ergonomic, or like, you know what I mean? Things like that, like they moved buttons where it's better. Because, I mean, maybe the technology is at a standstill with those small type tools, but
Battery life maybe a little bit
but
better.
it kind of goes back to like where you were talking about, like, well, I wouldn't want to buy an amp and speakers from some guy because I don't know if he's going to screw me over or whatever. Well, that's like, I would think you would be the kind of person, you know, that would be more apt to spend for
More.
the $300 ones.
Which is funny you say that because there's a DeWalt drill in my garage right now.
Right. So the thing is it's like, it's the same theory. Like,
this is a recent thing for me.
That guy selling you the amp is the Porter Cable.
Maybe.
It is, but I mean, like, it's not to the same extent, but I mean, it is. And the DeWalt, the nice yellow, or the Milwaukee red, it's like, you look at that and it's like, even the displays on the end caps, you're like, oh, there's Porter Cable, like, that green's looking all right with all that 2x4s, and then you look over and it's like, oh, like,
yeah,
Makita, like, on sale, $799, and you're like, that's the one you walk over there with your kids and they practice putting the screws in and out of the wood.
I think a lot of it is battery life for that stuff, but the reason I thought of this like last week was I was using a DeWalt drill and then it ran out of battery and I had to charge it, and then I was using a Porter Cable drill and I realized I had been using these Porter cables for like a year straight, and they freaking work awesome, and there's nothing that it can't do that this other drill can do. And I was like, why would I spend so much money on these freaking DeWalts? There must be something, or I don't know if there really is or not.
Are they both the same age?
No, the DeWalt is probably, well, I don't know for sure. I'd have to look it up. The DeWalt is definitely more used than the Porter Cable is looking.
Same thing. See that little experiment? Put a DeWalt next to a Porter Cable. Everybody's grabbing the DeWalt.
I like the way the Porter Cable looks. It's gray, red, and black.
Well, I mean,
it's heftier.
It's not even just the look.
Well, they're buying it because if for free. You're saying, here, these are free. Which one do you want?
No, I'm saying in your shop, you put a DeWalt and a Porter Cable on the shelf for 2 years.
Yeah, it's inherent. It's the commercial industry has screwed me.
So you walk over, and even if you don't know anything about tools, you grab the DeWalt.
You want to know something crazy about this? You know how the hammer drills have the thing where you just pull it out and you push it in and clip in it? I was so anti-Porter Cable because I thought it was a piece of garbage. I didn't even know the hammer drill that I had that on the front. I thought they were both the spinny things. And then I was like, wait a minute. Oh, this does have that thing on the front of it. This is exactly the same as this other thing. And I used it, and I had a bolt that I could not move with a ratchet, you know?
Yeah.
And I put it on there, and it worked instantly, which I still don't understand how that works.
Impact.
I know it's an impact wrench, but how? It just goes, and that works?
I think it's just very strong, quick.
Oh, that's why it's clicking?
Yeah.
It's got tons of torque, but can't hold it, so it's like...
Right. Click. But it's like
a hammer.
Like using a hammer on a wrench.
It works like a charum. Works like a charm. So, I was thinking about... I'm planning all these things out. We talked about that in the first podcast, I think.
For a house?
Yeah. I'm planning all my things, so now I'm debating which 5 tool set I'm going to get for the house.
What, 5?
Yeah, you need the hammer drill. You need the
Oh,
normal drill. Palm sander? Do I need a palm sander? I guess maybe. I don't know that I'll ever use this stupid thing. So maybe I should just get a drill. I don't know. I have one. I have a drill now.
oh, so you're at the Porter Cable decision?
Yeah.
Where's your heart take you?
I'm gonna end up getting Milwaukee because they think they're good brands. They're just not expensive. They're not even close to those Makitas or the DeWalt's or anything. They're not even close.
Yeah, they are.
No, I just looked it up. It's like $50 more than Porter Cable for a 5-piece set.
There's different ones though, because like if you look up Milwaukee brushless,
Why do I want brushless?
because that's the ones that would be equivalent to the DeWalt.
These are ion, lithium ion Milwaukee.
All I know is like there's a lesser series and
Of
a higher
Milwaukee?
series.
Does brushless last longer or something?
Yeah, and they're just really torquey.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing. Do I care about torque? Like, do I really care about torque? I guess maybe one day I'm going to be like, gosh darn it. I can't get this bolt out. And Zach told me to get the damn torquey ones.
No, I mean I don't.
Like, what were they doing 15 years ago when they didn't have the torquey ones?
Air tools.
Air tools 15 years ago as their only options? How old are electric hammer drills? Not that old?
I mean, have you seen the have you seen the
The
electric,
monster one?
the impacts where you take off lug nuts off your wheels with?
I feel like you could do that with the one I have at work.
No.
I'm going to put that to the test. I feel like I could. This
No
bolt today
way.
was it was holding the seat.
No way.
It was holding the seat down.
How big is it?
It was a 16.
How big is your air gun or your electric impact?
I don't know how to say how big it is. It's this tall.
Oh, it's pretty big.
It's a normal drill gun. So wait, okay. So here's the battery.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Here's the handle, and it goes up to here. So it's this big, and it's got the little thing like this big. Boop, 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 boop. It works like a freaking charm. I love that little thing. It makes me want to do stuff with it.
Oh yeah, my favorite tool of all time is that one I have that's on a 90.
Oh, the hand
The
one.
little screwdriver thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
and
The
that
only-
hammers too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that
I can't wait for the title of this to be DeWalt or Porter Cable.
the only thing that I haven't I don't know if it's like now I'm screwed because I use that one all the time. That's like impact. But man, a couple years ago I bought a nice Milwaukee brushless drill, and the past couple times that I've like grabbed that to put a screw in, I swear I spin on the screws. And I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably trying to go like
right.
like you have a different hand
Yeah.
position, maybe.
So like if you think about like it
Autistic almost.
the weird thing is I was like then I'm like the other day that happened I was like screw this I'm going to get that little impact thing so I go get it, dude. It's like you're a woodpecker trying to take down a redwood. Like click 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 click.
Wait, the
click.
drill you have isn't an impact.
The Milwaukee is not an impact.
I think it's got to be that because I have the same exact thing when I use an impact one. When I'm trying to drill, if I'm trying to drill something in and I can't get it because I'm stripping the bolt with like a normal screwdriver thing, and then I use the impact, it works like instantly. I think it's because it's like it's not even giving it enough time to jump out. It's just moving that. Oh,
But
it needs that
don't-
little bit.
But why the hell did I buy a drill?
But why the hell does anyone own a drill? Why isn't everyone impact?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why did I buy this $300 effing drill?
Because we're stupid human beings. Why do?
I already had that Craftsman impact thing in the drawer.
But maybe if you wanted to like drill a hole, it's good for that. Can you
But
drill a hole?
You
with
know
the
what I
impact
got
Craftsman?
in my next kit of the Craftsman Ion? A freaking drill that uses the batteries.
So why don't you sell the Milwaukee?
Because I feel like I have to have one.
You have one though. You have a drill with the.
But it's
Craftsman.
like different. It's smaller and stuff. Like
we'll see. Maybe if you want to drill a big hole one day in concrete or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It's so weird though.
Are you?
It was because of drill bits.
Yeah,
That's why I
that's
felt
why-
like
that
I
makes
had
sense.
it. But
I
I
like
mean,
that little thing, that little one that you have.
Yeah.
I wish it was powerful as H and it was still that size. That would be freaking awesome. But here's the question: why even own a normal drill? Just give me an impact that has the normal drill chuck. It works, and it works as a drill until it needs to otherwise.
Because generally, I think it. Well, if you go bigger, it'll do it. But I think generally it's because they're slower, and that's what I was trying to tell you. Like a woodpecker, like I'm trying to. I think I was like putting racks up or something, and it's like you're going right into a beam or something. It's like click, 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 click.
The only thing about that little thing is it's not like super, super, super strong. I think. So it instantly starts impacting.
Yeah.
It's not like one of those big ones, like a normal, the big DeWalt one or the Better Porter cable.
Oh
one.
yeah,
that's
twist
like it'll goes in and then it starts going click, click, click. That's the only thing about that little thing, but it works. I've never even seen one of those in real life. Before your house,
I had two.
You have some Australian ass impact screw gun thing. It's probably the only one ever created. You could probably sell it for hundreds of dollars.
I swear. You want to know a true story?
You stole it?
No. I got that. I got my OG because my father-in-law ran a hardware store and they clearanced them out. So my father-in-law got me one for, I think, Christmas. Then he gave me like an extra battery and a charger. And he was like, Zach, you're going to love this thing. Like, I use it when I'm working on a car, take off trim screws, all that stuff. So I loved it. Like a year ago, maybe 2 now, I was like just sitting on the sofa flipping through like resale, and there was a picture of like all these tools that were like the same as mine, like the same series. Like they were like the gray and black Craftsman Ion, the same battery, whatever. Dude, I bought the whole kit. It was like everything. I got a circular saw, which I never heard of.
Is this the one where you like completely took advantage of this old man?
No, I didn't take advantage of
Wait
him.
to hear this, 7 listeners.
No, it literally went up for sale, and I messaged him. I was like, I'll come right now. He lived in like...
What was the list price?
15 minutes away.
What was the list price?
I think he sold it to me for what he listed it.
No. You got it for way less than he listed. I remember the story, and I remember saying, Zach, you took advantage of it.
No, well, how did I take it?
Because then you were like, and what about that? Can I have that too? And he's like, yeah, sure, have that too. He gave you extra stuff also.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, but advantage, elderly.
No, but
he's gone now, of course, but his kids could have the tools.
No, that's not it. It wasn't like I took advantage. He had like other of these series of tools.
This man had $1,000 worth of tools. Zach bought it for $112, and he gave him extra tools. Alzheimer's.
That's not true.
He was infirm and he had Alzheimer's.
So listen, though, I'm telling you this whole story because I got home. I put all the tools down on the ground. I'm like, damn, this is so cool. Like little circular. I got a little hammer. Have you seen that? Like you press the button and it hammers.
No, I invented that. Great. I invented that when I was 12 years old.
I have one next time you come over. So I got all these tools, right? So I'm like,
I invented that.
I'm like, oh man, I got another one of these 90-degreers.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember this story?
No, I remember you saying, yeah, this is all coming back to me now. Continue.
I sold it on eBay for more than I bought.
Did you sell the new one or the old one?
His, it was dirtier than mine.
Yep. See, that's why sometimes the pain of dealing with that crap works out.
Yeah, I have so many chargers that I just started throwing them away.
Gosh, there's so many old men that got screwed out of their tools in the area. Yep.
No, it was kind of sad because I go there and, he had like them in every box.
That they came in?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a psycho.
And like his name on them and stuff. And I'm like, why are you selling these? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm probably making a mistake. I don't know. But my daughter got me a kit for Christmas, and he walks over. It's like border cable or something.
Yes. See, that's the good stuff.
And he's like, I don't know, like, and you could tell he was just like, he was never gonna use any of these tools ever again, like. But he just got a new kit, as a gift that was probably $60.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, I got these new ones. What am I going to do with the old ones? That's all it was.
Yep. Listed $1,000. It cost you $100.
That's not.
And then you sold the old used one for $200. Do you get your boss's Christmas presents?
No.
Great.
Do you?
Apparently. This is my first time, but apparently we're supposed to.
What?
But as a group, we got them a present.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah, that's a present, too. Each.
Money? Yeah?
Yeah. Surprising.
I don't understand that, though. That's from the
He made thousands of dollars in the stock market. He made thousands of dollars on the stock market.
Yeah, but that's got to be from the agency.
No. Zero chance.
That is the weirdest thing.
We're apparently Mayberry's. This is how people do things in the Mayberry areas of the world. Hey there, Chuck.
No
Merry
way.
Christmas.
No way.
I love you. I love you.
They somehow.
Zero chance. Zero chance.
There's no way that guy, similar in age as everyone.
He's not. He's 15 years older. But he just got, I got a gift last year too before it was even transferred. I got a gift. It was like a bunch of gift cards to different places. It wasn't cheap. It was probably $50 worth.
It's sweet.
Yeah, Mayberry. It's great. Everything else is terrible, but that's nice. But yeah, I guess that's a thing that people do. I've never even thought of doing something like that. Whatever. It's fine, I guess. Jeez.
I thought it's weird because it only takes like one person
To what?
to do it. Like if you're like, oh, I never heard of doing it, and that's like, oh, but really it was just one person that was like, guys, let's get.
Yes, of course. No, apparently I was the only one that someone asked me. I was like, that's a thing? Okay, I guess so.
So how much did y'all chip in?
$25 each.
Huh.
Something like that. $23.
Did he even like what it was?
It was money. This is exactly what I was talking about. You give me.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would...
So he gave us... So here's how it worked.
No.
He gave us money.
Why would you guys... Who would ever give him money?
We gave him we gave him a gift card.
Why?
It's a token. It doesn't mean anything. That's the problem. But anyway, so we ended up however it worked out. We had each made 50. So we got, let's say we each got $100. So let's say
I get it.
We
25 off.
We each spent $50. So we were still up 50%. And he was down for overall 50%. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I think enough people just don't think about it.
I think it's just because it's not supposed to be about what it is. It's not supposed to be the thing that's for you.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Because it's not supposed to be $1.
Yes, it is. It can be whatever. It's a gift.
Yeah, but it can't be something that that the human brain can so quickly quantify or qualify.
It's not about what it is.
A gift was, but I'm saying though, a gift for, let's say, a Christmas gift or a birthday gift, like it's supposed to be more than like what money stands for now. A gift was supposed to have thought to it,
it's got to be relative to what you're giving it to.
I don't think so.
What I'm going to spend I'm going to spend a day thinking about what my boss at work wants. No, it's just saying, here, this is what, hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, what you were saying, like the point of it is to give a gift versus to receive a gift. But there's no like, well, like in my head, oh, Ryan's opening the card. He's going to pull out the $50 gift certificate. There it goes. And then I'm going to watch Ryan like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll use this to buy myself some more fishing line, or, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. No, it's supposed to be like, oh, dude, you knew I needed one of these. Like how you say.
I don't think that's true.
I 100% do. Like, you have said it to me the past 2 years in my life, both last year and this year. Something has been going on in around my house, and you're like this. Well, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas. That's what a gift is. And here's the problem. Ready? Now you got me worked up. The problem is, if you don't have a gift idea for someone, don't get them a gift. It's not insulting. It's not like you drop a level in class. It's nothing. It just means we didn't mingle enough. I don't know you well enough. Nothing came to mind. I don't like you. Whatever it is. But it's like we got caught up in this move as a society where it was like, well, it's a birthday. Don't show up to the birthday party without a present. And guess what? Everyone gets a fucking card with a fucking 20 in it or a gift certificate somewhere. It's like...
But I liked money as a kid.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also plays part as like the kid part where that's a passage to growing up as well. Like the money stood for making my own decisions and learning about that whole process when you're a kid. But it's like now it's like... And this was ingrained in me from my dad. It was just like my dad was anti like money, gift cards, all those kind of things, because it was like a stranger could give you it. And it was like the point of it to gift to him. And I mean, and I may be crazy out in left field to a lot of people, 6 of the 5 viewers listening, but it's like
we'll have 9.
But the point is like it is, because I know plenty of old people now that like have come to me or I've heard about that are like, hey, we don't do gifts anymore. Just letting you know, like we don't do gifts. So it's like, oh, okay. So like there's people in your life that like, oh,
you're saying we're not getting you a gift.
So right. Like we don't do gift exchange. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, thanks for the warning. Now I don't have to get you a present. That's not how it works. Like you don't close it off. It's like I don't care if you get me a gift or not. If I find a gift that I want to give to you, then I want to give you a gift. Yeah, but that's the prime example of old people that have done it over and over and over and over. It's like you can't watch Christmas Vacation without seeing that Jello cake or whatever the hell. What are they called?
Jello cake?
Those, like, they're in a tin.
Fruitcake?
Fruitcakes. Like, that's like the joke back in the day. Like, oh, I got the fruitcake, and then you give it to someone else the next year or whatever. It's like, that was it. Like, someone got the fruitcake because they're like, oh, I don't know what we're going to give them. Oh, we'll just get them this.
Yeah, but I don't think just because I think there's some social norms that don't have a negative. That's not a negative to getting someone a fruitcake that you're an acquaintance of.
What do you mean a negative?
You're saying it as if this is a problem.
No, I'm saying someone bought someone a fruitcake.
Yeah.
Because they knew they had to give them a gift.
Right. That's not a negative.
It's not a negative, but it's not a negative in that instance. But it's a negative that by the time year 30 of gift giving comes around, and you have ingrained in your brain the thought that, I gotta go get gifts for all these people, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that you finally go, hey, just so you know, we're not gift giving this year.
I've never had someone say that to me, so I don't know who that is, but I've never had anyone ever say that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's a good example, though.
Yeah, that's one example, but
I mean, like, okay, so subtract even that, but it's like, if it's a burden,
but that's not my problem for other people. Don't burden yourself with that bullshit then.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a burden. Like, you almost did a 180 on me, because the point of it is like you traded money with your boss.
Yeah, but it's not a burden for me next year to say, oh, I gotta buy a gift for my boss again. That's not a burden to me. If it was a burden, I wouldn't do it. Yeah,
but what if it wasn't $25? What if you couldn't give them $25 or a gift card?
What do you mean?
what if next year it's like, okay, crew, we're getting boss something. Each of you spend $25 on something.
Then I'd go on Amazon and probably find something in about 3 minutes.
And he'd throw it in the fucking dumpster.
Yeah, but people do that with expensive stuff too, so it doesn't matter.
But the point is like, then why'd you do it? Because
I would say, oh, he likes electronics. I'll buy him something electronical that I've never seen him have that he could put on his desk. Oh, look at this funny thing. Bought here. That's not a negative. If people are, well, yeah, you're explaining it as a negative, like, oh, this person's going to be burdened, and now they're not going to do gifts anymore. It's like that. I think that's an extremely rare case, and I don't think it matters one way or the other. If you are in such a first world problem that you are burdened by giving other people gifts, well, I don't know. That's a whole nother issue that you gotta have to deal with, I guess.
But see, I guess my point of it is like, it's like, call me like an old sappy romantic, but it's like, I find like it, like, to take 2 seconds or to just be like, oh, like, you know, to me it's like, if you're going to Jimmy's birthday and Jimmy's like we'll just say Jimmy's your nephew, and you're like, oh, we're going to Jimmy's, oh shit, we didn't get a present, yeah, just throw $20 in a card, we'll just give him $20, you know, like, or whatever. It's like, to me that's more like, I don't know how to say it, because like when you vocalize it, I guess it does sound a little crazy, but like to me it's like,
yeah, you didn't put effort in.
Yeah,
how much you actually care about.
So I find that there is I can't help but to like put it on a gauge of like, you know,
I think the birthday thing is different because that's something that's like, okay, you are gonna get, or Christmas, you're gonna get people in everyone in your family something. So if you don't do anything and you end up just giving them a card with $20 in it if you're a father and that's what you give your kid because you didn't want to put effort in, I think that's ridiculous. But if it's just a thing where you're like, okay, it's Christmas, it's a tradition, we're gonna get each other, everyone's gonna get each other something. I think it's stupid, as I've already stated about this story from the beginning. What we did was ridiculous, but it's not bad. Like if we're gonna have a tradition where everyone at your office gets each other something that's worth $15 and it's always stupid and we end up not keeping it or whatever, and it's just a fun thing saying, hey, Merry Christmas, we had a good year or whatever, then I don't think that's a bad thing at all. But when it's someone that's personal, like it's this, when it's something that's personal, like my mother gets me something. Like if my mother got me a turtleneck, like she used to buy me turtlenecks when I was a kid, but if she bought me a turtleneck right now, I live in Florida, I would keep the turtleneck. It's like it just is what it is. She thought I would like it. It doesn't matter if I freaking like it or not. It's a gift. It's not supposed to be like, you know, the ideal thing for me. She went out, looked for something, found it, thought I would like it, thought of me, and then that's what she got me. Okay, I appreciate it. I'm going to keep it now. For a reasonable amount of time, obviously. Like probably 2 years from now when I go through it and say, why do I have a turtleneck? I'll get rid of it. But that's the difference. If you're talking about a birthday, I think like if it's like a friend of a friend, like who's that girl, like I don't know, we don't have to say their names, but there's those people from where I work that have the little whatever.
Yeah.
So they're barely. I've seen them once in my whole life. It's not like they can't be that close, but they come because they have a kid or whatever. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal for them if your son, when he's 10 or 11,
to get a card.
They say, "Oh, let's go spend the day over there. It's going to be fun to have. It's going to be a fun party. We'll have more people there. Royce will have more fun because there's more people there, and we're just going to get him a card. We're not going to put like a ton of effort into this. We don't hang. We're not extremely close or whatever. It just is what it is. But if you are getting a gift for someone, if someone's getting you a gift that is like, for example, I find something, I go to the store and I see something that I think you'll like, and it's whatever, and I bring it to you, and I'm like, oh, didn't you want something like this or blah 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 blah, and you're looking at it, you're like, that's kind of what I wanted, but not exactly that. The gift itself doesn't matter at all, in my opinion. Like if I got you something that you fucking hated, but I didn't know you'd hate it. I thought you were going to like it. And I just went to the store and got it and brought it to your house, and you're like, oh, yeah, thanks. Like, does it really matter what that gift is? Not really. Because at that time, that's just me thinking about somebody else and doing something good for somebody else. But not to talk about everything being commercialized, but obviously the big problem is that someone's grand scheme worked, and they said, hey, you got to get a gift for everyone you know at one point. And now everyone starts buying fruitcakes in the 70s to give to their neighbors and the neighbors' neighbors and the neighbors' neighbors and the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors. And everyone thinks they got to get something for everybody.
Yeah.
I think until probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, was probably the first time I bought anything for anybody besides my brother, like my immediate family. I didn't buy anything for anybody else. Like, I wasn't going to like your brother's house and giving him a Christmas gift. You know, typically that's not like what would happen. It wasn't a thing. I got stuff from my immediate family. But then I found out my mother gives gifts to freaking everybody. Well, I didn't know that. She just buys Christmas presents for freaking random people. So I do think that it's a lot of things that are silly, but if there's not really like a negative to it, I don't really care that much. Like, I get the whole you didn't put any thought into it, so it means nothing. But that's not really supposed to mean anything other than it's like I think it's supposed to be like this is like a traditional thing that we do. We'll get you something, you get me something. Who cares what it is? Doesn't mean anything anyway. Especially if it's random like that. Like, would it be that bad if no one at work thought of anything, or the boss didn't think to get us anything, and then we all went together and gave him a gift card for $50 because he wouldn't have expected it? That would probably be a good thing, because it makes him feel good that, oh, the people that work for me think enough of me to get me something. So, I don't know. It's up and down, but I don't really see any negatives to it at all. Except maybe like the overall cultural problems that maybe that general attitude towards everything could possibly lead to. But I think there's probably bigger fish to fry when it comes to that.
Yeah. There's so many different scenarios that it like changes how it.
Yeah, like, I think you're right about, like, for example, like if for Christmas I give my brother a gift card for $20 somewhere that I just clearly went to Walmart and got on the way to his house on Christmas, then that's obviously stupid. If that's what or that's what my parents get, or that's what my brother gets his kid because he doesn't care, and that's what here, have $300. That's different, obviously, but generally, I don't think really the gift itself is what's supposed to matter. It's supposed to be just that you're getting something for someone. Obviously, the thought makes it better sometimes, but I don't know if it's like really a necessity.
It's just funny because, like, I guess sometimes maybe I've spent a little too much time just even thinking about, like.
Well, the thing also is, like, you're talking about, like, old-fashioned, and I got, like, you're an old-fashioned person. The fruitcake thing was, like, from, like, the 50s.
No, I'm saying.
They're all, like, people have always been this way. We're just, like, we have this self-deprecating thing where we're like, gosh, we're stupid nowadays. I do the same thing. I talked about it on this amazing, well-listened-to podcast. Like, oh, imagine in the 30s and the 40s. They're probably doing the same damn thing we're doing now. They're the same types of, there was obviously differences, but we do have a self-deprecating thing about us that we're like, look at us, we're buying everyone gifts. And then everyone back then probably was doing the same goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm. It's just weird, like, if you, like, boil down, like, every event like that. Like
getting someone a present on Easter?
But I mean, like, just like, have you ever thought, like, oh, I'm going to this birthday party when you were a kid, and it was like, my mom and dad are giving me money to put in the card to give to this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's your admission ticket charge.
It is. It's also, I think that's also like
it's like the parents bought hot dogs and hamburgers and soda, so they might come out
all those things.
It's like, those are the things that it's like, I wish I still was like, Santa Claus, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, the more you know, it's just like, it takes away.
I think that's also probably got some sort of hidden teaching kids social norms type stuff. Like, you're going, oh, birthday party, bring a gift. Like,
But,
that's what
like,
you got to do. The kid
$20, like, hey, here's my money. Now I can drink out of
well,
the
that's
keg.
like that's a logistics thing. You have like an 8-year-old. You're like, okay, let's go to the store and buy something for Jimmy. What is Jimmy like? Dinosaurs. And you're like, no, you like dinosaurs, Roger.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
There's no options though. I mean, you could go get him something and hope he likes it.
that's what you do.
Did you get
the
presents?
kids like toys.
Did you get when you were at a
They
birthday
put
party?
the ages up in the corner.
Did you get when you had birthday parties as a kid? Did you get toys or money?
What's a kid?
Like as like an 8-year-old, 10-year-old
Toys.
from everyone.
Yeah.
I think I got money from.
If I mean, I don't remember exactly, but if I put an overall, it was toys. I got things.
My grandparents.
Dude,
got
you go
money
open it up,
every
you get
year.
a squirt gun, you go freaking fill the son of a bitch up, and you have a squirt gun fight. Like, I
got
want
those too, but my grandparents always gave me money. My aunt and uncle typically always gave me money, except sometimes for Christmas they'd give me.
You know
other
what?
stuff.
I realize I don't want to make a fajita. I don't want to order the shit to make a fajita. Like, this Christmas, I realized, like, I want to get, like, my parents asked me, like, a couple of things. Candace, and we try to make it easy, like, this or that. I want stuff that I can play with that day. Like, I want, like, a little thing to put on my vehicle that day.
Like an N64?
Huh?
Like when you get a Nintendo 64 and you can play that.
Yeah, like I want, you know what I mean? And I realized, what's missing in my life for the past X years? Actually, like, looking at different options and touching them and feeling them and then buying one of them. Like, all I do is I go on Amazon or I look at reviews or I do a 360 view, and it's like, no, I want it right. I don't even want to wait a day. I want it right now, and it's like, I think about that, like, it almost must to some extent not matter as much what you actually get. Because it's like the whole experience.
That's what I was just going to say. People have accepted such mediocre crap now because they ordered it offline. What they never had the idea to make it good in their brain.
And how about this? How many reviews have you ever written?
How many reviews is about? Only when it's really bad.
Okay.
Maybe 3.
But I think about this sometimes. I'm like, oh, it's got good reviews. Read. Who the fuck are those people doing reviews?
Weirdos. Weirdos have time to write reviews.
I mean, I don't know one person that is like
does.
That like, oh yeah, I do the reviews. I mean, and then on top of that, what is not a better business plan than to have so many people write reviews? Whether it's legit, hey, have, them hand out cards at this and they'll all be able to buy this on Amazon if they write a review or something. It's like, yeah. But that's like our holy thing. Somehow our brains got washed where it's like, well, when you buy stuff online, you got to just look at the reviews. The reviews tell it all. And then it's like one guy's like, this is a piece of shit. It fell apart when I opened it out of the box. And then the other guy's like,
directly as advertised. It works as advertised.
Yeah, the other guy's like, I've never had a better pair of scissors in my life.
Yeah, but this is a drill. I'm buying a drill, sir. I don't care about your scissors.
I know, but it's just like...
So here's the other thing about reviews that I just freaking thought of. And it's related. So I listened to this study the other day about healthcare and how they rank countries' healthcare, how good it is. You know how they rank it? It's how the people in the country say they feel about their own healthcare. So, like, we're just above Cuba. We're just above these countries that you're like, wait a minute. I mean...
They're still, like, driving...
They're still driving a 1942 freaking Chevy.
Yeah.
And it's rusty, and they're actually not driving it. There's an animal pulling the vehicle. So anyway, we're just above these countries. Okay. So they do it based on the way that the people feel about it. So... For example, Great Britain, they beat us by they're way up on the top of the list. Everything's free in Great Britain. What are your expectations for something you don't have to pay for? You don't give two goddamns what it is. So they're all like, yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm not paying for anything. The majority of people don't have serious problems, so they don't have to worry.
With a gun to their head.
Yeah, so they don't have to worry about medical care. So yeah, when I went to the dentist, everything worked out fine. It's like, yeah, so they gave a good rating. Here, we pay for it, and we're like, yeah, of course our healthcare could get better. Why are we paying so much money? I can only live forever, and I have fucking cancer of the brain. Why am I paying so much to live forever? Blah, 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 blah. Like, so, like, if they didn't ask whose is better and they actually looked at it, we would probably be at the top or near the top. That's just my opinion. But reviews are the same way now. They're buying these shitty things, and it's relative to what their expectations are, and we don't know what your expectation is. So it could be the biggest piece of garbage, but you only bought it once to put a fish on your wall, and you're like, gee whiz, this sure does work like it's supposed to. So of course you're going to have good reviews. That's why almost everything does have good reviews.
And when do they review them, honestly? Like, within the first week?
Yeah, 100%. You got to use that baby for a long time.
Yeah, like within the first week, they're like, just what I wanted. Came right out of the box, and it just felt right in my hand.
What's that? Yeah. Yep, the box sure does open nice. What's that freaking car that exploded? The Pacer?
Yeah, the gas tank.
It'd be like, back then, someone owns a Pacer, and they drive it around for 2 weeks. They're like, what a beautiful car.
But you know how many they sold before word spread? A shitload.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
imagine though, like, that's a funny thing to think about, like how slow, like, the world worked back then.
Yeah,
where it was
like no one knew.
Like somewhere in Illinois, they're like, "Oh fuck!"
Someone in like California is like, "Hey, Colorado just started having the accidents. Let's get these babies out. It's coming." Exactly. They have like a map every day. They
your fucking CUDA.
They have a map of the United States on dry erase board, and they just move it over at one marker length every day. Yep, that's true.
And then the fucking internet happened.
Yep, and everyone got screwed.
Oh, could you imagine the shit?
Can you imagine what we'd be doing right now if we didn't have the internet? What would we be doing right now?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I have no idea either. We would actually probably still be oddly, we'd be in the same situation. Because I met your brother through people at work. I met you through him.
Oh, you mean our relationship?
No, I just mean in general. We would have the same relationship probably because I met him through
Dude,
work.
I bet I'd be in fucking tan Carhartts out shoveling snow right now.
Just because of the internet?
Yeah, I just think so much. Like, I just would have been like...
Why would you be up north?
Because I think I would just follow. I think you like when.
What does the internet have to do with you moving though?
Well, because I just think back to before I really had much experience in even not only like computers, but like in what kind of eye-opening things they did. So I just feel like if I think back to then before computer internet. Like, I feel like it just was simpler time. You just kind of followed.
Maybe.
You just kind of followed your people. Like, like.
Yeah. I mean, my grandparents moved to the villages when there was no internet yet. And it was just a freaking farm field. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. But I think if otherwise, it would be the same. Our friendship didn't really rely on the internet, but what the hell would we be doing right now?
Yeah, but I'm grouping internet in with like all of it,
like enlightenment. The enlightenment to do crazy stuff.
Well, yeah, like
or make it normal to be like it's not that abnormal.
I think
to live some far away.
I think back then, like look at the books of like the 40s and stuff, and like Bag of Bombs and like these guys jumping on trains and stuff. Like I think it was a smaller group. It was like a minority of people who actually were like so open-minded and like adventurous. And I think that like
technology... Well, I think we call them bums now.
No. Like now they all like take out $100,000 loan and they're driving around those Mercedes vans with a, gel mattress in the back and making it, you know what I mean? Like it's just like technology has made everyone so softened that like not even made the person soften. They've been able to soften everything that it's like, oh yeah, you can climb a mountain now. Like wear this gear, and if shit goes bad, use this special phone, and then the helicopter will come in and the Rangers will get you. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a real thing that's going on. In two situations I know down here they're seeing major upticks in like unexperienced
Hikers?
no, like in the water.
Oh, fishermen?
Just not even fishermen, but just like in general, it's like it's kind of like the jet ski idea, like where it's like, well, they made it so easy that like if you could ride a motorcycle now you could ride a jet ski or like something like that. And so it's softened the idea so much to people that they rely on like the resource, like the emergency response.
Oh.
So like up north,
Look at someone else's problem.
yeah, like up north, I guess like there's a major thing going on with like, you know, the high peaks, all these mountains that are like designated and have kind of paths established from just like the wear and whatever. And it's like the numbers have increased so much that like they're like eroding areas. And on top of that, like the emergency response services are used daily because some group read about it online or looked at some pictures or, you know, had the idea, but had no business to actually be doing something like climb a high peak mountain.
So what is it? Because you think it's because people have it so easy they think there's no way anything bad can happen to them, or it's their life is just so
I think
stressful.
It's technology.
But why would a person care that? Like, what would a person?
Well, because this, like, if 30 years ago you
gonna die there,
you got this idea to go climb a mountain or whatever, and you got to the point where you would call 911 or whatever, but there was no 911 or whatever, that would probably change your decision in whether or not you actually go and climb that mountain.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the whole.
It's like I heard this story today, right? A guy I know works for an emergency response. Got a call last night for this older gentleman that was like, I guess a storm had pushed through and he was on a smaller boat and he called and said he needed to be rescued. And the tax dollars paid for someone to go get a vessel with a trailer and put it in the water and make, you know, a spot, like a general area to look and to find this person. And this person's like, you know, I just moved here. I've never been on the water here before. Like, I need help, whatever. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll tow you since it's a little.
Well, they found him.
Since it's a little, yeah, like on a boat, no, you know, whatever. All right, well, if I bring you over to this area, which is kind of like out of the weather, are you okay to make it back? I'd rather, can you just bring me all the way back to my house? So, like, for that to happen is like, that's broken, you know? And so, like, I think that is one of those things where it's like, if that guy knew that he would die out there, or at least just...
Was he on the Gulf, or was he in the...
He was in a river. So, like, the thing is, like, if that guy, like, you know what my buddy told him? He's like, hey, find the nearest dock and just hold on to the dock.
And then he left?
And that's where he picked them up. No, that's where he found them. Like, the guy is like...
Why do we need a tow? What's the deal here? The thing doesn't work?
Well, when he got back, I guess there was something that was said that was like, I don't know if I have enough gas to make it back to my house or something. Oh my gosh. But so my point is, though, is like, it's not like, you know, I think that like the more like conservative side, like, no, don't think radically, like the more conservative side of thinking was like,
I don't want to die over something stupid.
No, it's like to think like, well, yeah, there should be like fines in place. There should be like I'm not insinuating that we change things in a way that someone dies out there because they made a mistake. That's not my point. But my point is that like there is a repercussion
for not being prepared.
Yeah, for it to be like, and I don't know where you draw the line exactly, but like my thing is like this guy, all he had to do is just get up earlier, go out in the morning. You know, if the nighttime was a concern or whatever the concern was, or not go as far away.
Yeah. I think you're saying like, okay, so now he's going to have to pay a fine because
at least, right?
Yeah, I just think that the problem is that which I think would actually happen is that people will be less likely to call, which means they're more likely to get hurt or killed. Like if you're like every time you call the police, you got to pay for it. People are not going to call the police. They're going to die.
Yeah, but I'm not saying like that's the thing that would be like the $1 million question. I'm not saying that like it'd almost be like if you do like a 911 hang up or like a prank or something, right? Like you get fined.
You're arrested.
Yeah. So it's like you would somehow be able to draw that line where it was like, okay, we came out here, you have gas, you know, you have no injuries because you made, you know, like a police report. Like,
yeah, you're not in any danger. You just called us out here.
Right.
Well, it's almost like, I know that if you go to like a alarm for a business.
Exactly.
They charge them. The police can charge them. The fire department apparently always charges them.
But I mean, think about it. Like, okay, you get 2 a year. You know, like.
Yeah, people, you get 1 a year. Businesses, you get 2.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, someone screws up and sets their alarm, and they walk out, and then the alarm goes off. Well, guess what, folks? When the police go there, they need to be thinking someone's in your freaking store. But by the 5th time they go there, they've become complacent, and that's either an opportunity where they're going to once again just shut the alarm off and go home, or they're going to get shot and killed because they weren't prepared.
Yeah, I even think it applies to personal people. I think the way you start is unfounded complaints. Meaning you go to like a thing like whatever, some crazy person just keeps calling the police for whatever reason. And she's not really crazy, she's just a stupid dummy, and she keeps wasting the police time, and you do it 3 times. You know, and they do it, let's say you do it 5 times in 1 week. At some point, what's the repercussion?
Right.
She's not abusing 911. She's asking for the police to come there. The police are going there. She's wasting their time and money. And there's nothing that anyone can do about them. And that creates
complaints. Because by the second time you go out there, you're not the nicest guy you've ever been.
Yeah.
It's wasted fuel and time and tax dollar money.
And protection for people that might actually need it.
And correct. And then on top of that is creating bad behaviors. It's creating a state of mind.
Well, and it's telling her that that's acceptable.
From her point, but I'm saying even from within like law enforcement or from fire EMS or from whatever, like the last thing that anyone needs that's in need of the service is for those people to be taking one less inch of a step because they're like, oh gosh, we got another call and freaking blah blah blah. I'm sure this is a blah blah. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're saying that the police would act?
I'm saying
more switched on because they're like, well, okay, I'm going to act switched on because if it's not, they're going to get people are going to be screwed anyway. But at least they're going to get fined for it. But if it's not, I'll have. It's going to be
something versus nothing. I mean, it's literally
more likely to be something.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like it incentivizes it for some way for some of the type police people, but also it brings a reality. It's like, well, humans, like ultimately, like we're just damning ourselves into like the reality that we need government. Because no one even know how to function anymore or live. Like, we need to come, like, humans screwed up the service industry so bad that now we have to justify that they actually needed it.
Yes.
It's like you can't reverse it.
I don't know how you, at this point, I don't know how you reverse it.
You can't reverse it. But it's like, that was supposed to just be the way people were. You know? Like, you were just supposed to be that way. You were just supposed to realize, like, yeah, like the fire department is there if we need them, but we need to make sure that we need them if we call them.
Yes.
Like that was just like ingrained
I think
human.
and it's partially the government, their own fault. It's the government's own fault for putting themselves in people's lives as much as they do to make them think that now we need the government for everything.
Like when I used to work,
Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Someone walks up on my lawn and I say, "Hey, dude, get the hell off my lawn." And he's like, "Screw you, man." And I'm like, "Dude, get the fuck off my property." And he says, "No." And he's like standing there being an a-hole. And I walk over and I punch him in his face and throw him in the street and say, "Stay the fuck off my lawn." And then the police come and they're like, "Well, you know, you didn't break any laws, but next time just call us." Why, motherfucker? I didn't need you.
yeah,
I told him to get off my property and he didn't get off my property, so I got him off my property. But then the police come and they say, "You should have just called a shoplifting in a store." If I was working at a store and a guy shoplifted, I chased him through the parking lot in the middle of the snow and found out where he was hiding in the woods, and we got the police. The police were coming and they came and like arrested him, or I don't even know if they got him. But anyway, so they come in, they're like, "Hey, don't try to don't try to chase him down." He's like, "You're gonna get killed." I'm like, "Okay, we'll call you for every little thing then."
yeah.
How about I'm there. I'm a human being. What are you, super cop? You're Superman? I have the right to go chase a guy down that's stealing. So I'm going to go do it. What do you mean? Stop telling everyone that they can't do anything themselves without the police. It's like they've done it to themselves largely.
And think about the big wheel spinning is
Wait, we're going to need
money.
This is going to end this podcast because it's gone on for 2.5 hours. This is going to start the next podcast. So if you like this ending, we actually started to talk about something legitimate towards the end here, like actual legitimate stuff. This is going to end it, but then we'll talk about this first on the next one. Go.
The big wheel is money. So like I didn't really realize this up until not that long ago, but it's all grants from the federal government
For local.
for all of it. So like the thing is like if I start some sort of emergency agency and
Government one?
yeah,
Okay.
and I want to grow, well then I take on other responsibilities which provides me grant money.
Oh, yeah.
And so this big hamster wheel is
because they're like, we're not going to do that unless you do this.
Right. And so the scary thing is like, it's the big government idea because they're incentivizing
what they want,
more control, using the dollar to get it. Like, oh, you guys want to get new vehicles? You want to get new this? You want to get new that? Well, there's a grant. You got to do this. And then you get, then you start patrolling this. You start responding to this. But you got to have certain numbers. You got to be able to justify it. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it's like, that's what it is. Like, it's just like if you looked at like the economy, like there's this crazy idea like that it's supposed to always grow. Where does it grow to? I mean, like it just always grows, right? It's always supposed to keep going up.
Yeah, because there's more people.
I mean, whatever you want to say, but like it's like this idea that like if the population stopped increasing, the way that our economy is supposed to work is it just always grows. Boom, up, 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 up.
Mm-hmm. Well, then they make
and so where does this end? Is like, like
I'm going to look up and see if Japan's, because I know Japan's population is going down. I want to see if their GDP goes up. Japan GDP increase 2020, because that would be a good one to know. No, see? Japan down 5%. 2019, 0.67%. 2018, 0.28%. So they're going down because their population is going down. I think. I don't know exactly how it is, but to end this whole thing, and then we'll talk about this the next time, what you were saying about all the money and stuff, and they say, hey, you got to do this or else we're not going to give you this grant. That is how what is supposed to be a small federal government, a relatively small, powerless federal government gets control over all the states because they say, yeah, okay, so we're small right now, but we'll give you $10 million, but you got to do things this way. Hey, teachers, you got to do things this way. You in this, every state has to do things the way the federal government wants them to do it, or else they're not going to get their money to run their schools.
Right.
And states do that to cities, and cities do that, or counties do that to cities and
That's
towns. That's how they do it.
We're all biting our nose.
Yeah, that's why the federal government. This is exactly what we're talking about right now. Is why the federal government running everything, which is what we essentially have right now. I don't care what anyone
100%.
says. The federal government can do whatever they want.
But I don't even understand how that doesn't even play more of a role in like elections. Like, you know, like
because both parties are the same now.
I know, but like like if you had, it just must be so weird because like if you were red and the state was blue, and you like found a way to provide that state more money, like that has to happen sometimes. Like that, you know what I mean?
No.
Like a padding idea where it's like, you know, hey, we want to change your mind kind of thing. Versus like, okay, if I'm the president and you're another state and you don't do the things, you don't think the way that I do, then I starve your ass.
Right.
Like you would think that would be more prevalent. Like is
the opposite.
Is a good reason California is going down is because like they've defied the federal government so long that the federal government was like, okay, try it now. You know, like somewhere along the way, and
I think might be part of it because they know that they're like the first ones.
But you know, like, wouldn't it like in the jungle? That's how it would be. Like you're defying us, California. You think you're a republic. You want to legalize weed when we're saying it's not. You want to do all these things. Back off. Fun. You know, tighten down the nut a little bit.
Yeah.
It has to be, right?
It is. And here's the other crazy thing that I think is just so blatantly crazy. Based upon how this country was made and what its the intentions were. Why do we pay more income taxes and taxes to the federal government than we do to our own state? That's like literally the exact opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be giving our majority of our tax money to our state, who's the ones that are supposed to govern us primarily. And all of our money, so much money goes to the federal government that they're able to fund the states with their money. And the states don't, the states have to ask them for money when it's supposed to be the exact opposite. They're supposed to be like, hey, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and all these southern states, we need money because we don't have enough money to buy Humvees. So can we have money so that the Mujahideen don't invade us? And we're supposed to be like, let's think about this. And then we think about it as a state and we say, yeah, that's probably a good. They probably do need the money. Here you go. You can have the money now. But it's literally the exact opposite. If nothing else, if there's something that shows it right on its face about how jacked up it is. Like people talk about like, oh, Republicans are more small government relative to the Democrats, but not relative to how it's supposed to be. They're still big government people. Donald Trump's not a small government person. All he did was write goddamn executive orders and think he was running the world. It's so far gone now for all that stuff, and they run everything. Like you're saying, with money. That's it. They went from, that's how a small federal government in numbers rules the entire country, because they just said, hey, you guys are going to we're going to make you guys pay us all these taxes, and we're going to make you dependent on us, just like they do with everything else. I think I talk about welfare every time I have a podcast. Every single time, we're going to make you dependent on us, and if you don't do exactly what we want, then you're not going to get your money, and that's the way it ends. So, all right, we're ending this. That was like 2.5 hours, I think.
Bingo.
And I guess we don't have to talk about that in the next one since we just did. But in general, ugh.